Alabama's Morning News. I'm JT. I used to love watching that show, To Catch a Predator. And you catch the bad guys trying to lure young people in through the internet. And then they show up and like, oh, the police. Okay. But apparently now some people have taken it upon themselves to do this on their own. Vigilante, if you will. Joining us to talk a little bit more about this, JoDee Neal, sexual abuse expert and also a survivor herself. Been with us a number of times when it comes to this topic. JoDee, welcome back in. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
So apparently this crazy case took place where I used to live right off of Lorain Road. I lived off of this road in Cleveland, Ohio, in Cuyahoga County there, in North Olmsted, which is a suburb there. But walk us through what these, I guess, vigilantes did to try and catch a predator and how it backfired.
These groups have sprung up all over the country. I dealt with one in Oklahoma the last time I was in the DA's office, and I feel for their mission because law enforcement doesn't have enough resources to deal with all these problems. But they're honestly, in many cases, profiting off of what is a legitimate law enforcement activity. And so what happened in Cuyahoga was the same kind of deal. They used an AI generated image of a little boy, a 13-year-old boy, to in a chat to lure a potential predator to a bar where the predator thought that he would be meeting this boy. And the Cuyahoga County prosecutors had to turn down the case, which I completely understand.
Whoa, time out. Time out. They turned the case down because it was done illegally and it wasn't done with law enforcement, so you can't be out there doing this on your own. Even if you're successful and your intents are great and nobody got hurt and they captured a guy, so they call the cops. Here's what happened. They lay out everything they did, and then the DA's like, hey, great solid case. Don't really see any problem here, except you're not law enforcement. You can't.
Yes.
But they didn't take the guy behind the bar and beat him to a pulp. They called law enforcement right at the end of this whole thing to say, look, here's what we did. We got the guy.
They did, and the case was presented to the DA, and it was the DA who sent it back. And, there are a lot of details that are, could be discussed. We could get into the weeds for sure. But the Constitution, the Fourth Amendment, says no unreasonable search and seizure. And that is, basically private citizens don't have the right to do law enforcement activity.
But talk to me about the Good Samaritan law in some places. If you don't act when you see a crime happening, you can be held responsible sometimes and be brought in and have to deal with some legal problems if you don't act to help somebody, right?
Well, that's a great point. But what the Cuyahoga County DA said was that this was entrapment.
Man, I don't know. The guy, he's 31 years old. He thinks he's talking to a 13-year-old boy, shows up to meet him. I mean, is that really entrapment?
This is where it gets down to the fine lines that I don't have access to right now. Because some prosecutors do take the cases. And I really struggled with this. The last one I had, I was like, this guy, he's bad. He is bad.
Yeah.
How can I make this work? And I wanted to make it work. But on the other hand, the vigilante group needs to know that they're operating in very gray territory here, doing law enforcement's job, and they need to be real careful.
Yeah, it's like the guys in New York that used to wear the red berets, to help the assistance of the police department to keep the streets of New York City, safe. I forget the name of the group, but all well intended and borderline vigilantes, if you will, but supporting law enforcement. What would you say, or what would you suggest, for instance, if they pulled you into a conference room with the district attorney of Cuyahoga County and the leader of this vigilante group that's trying to do the best thing? What's the solution here where maybe law enforcement can work with these people that are trying to do this and maybe, I don't know, call an officer and say, here's what we're doing, here's what we got set up, can we work together on this and add some assistance, or maybe be sworn as a deputy or whatever? Is there a way to figure this out where the law enforcement can actually expand their efforts in trying to protect these kids?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would bring them in and explain what reasonable suspicion is, and I would thank them very much for their efforts to obtain reasonable suspicion. And I would say basically, once you have a lead, you need to send that lead to the ICAC task force, the Internet Crimes Against Children task force. And basically, you're going to be a funnel. You're going to be filtering leads to the task force, and then we'll take it from there. But what the group is not going to want to hear is that they can't get the shock value for their YouTube channel or to sell T-shirts in the case that I was referencing from Oklahoma.
Okay.
So they're gonna have to forfeit some of their notoriety in order to do what's best for the community.
Yeah, always a little bit follow the money, right? So trying to make a buck off of this situation. Hey, I got to tell you, if I'm the mayor of Cleveland, I'm giving somebody a medal for doing this and saying, look, you can't do it. You're right, but I'll tell you what, you're on the right path here. Let's come up with maybe a way to accommodate both law enforcement and your organization trying to get these creeps off the streets for sure. JoDee, Neal, thank you so much. I appreciate you.